And if you're having a problem with changing your name for some reason, feel free to go ahead and put your first and last name in the chat. You can do it to me or to Kendall, and we can go ahead and change that for you if you're having a difficult time changing your name. So thank you so much. All right, without further ado, I am totally and completely thrilled to introduce you to Robert Phillips. Robert has been an amazing partner working with us with a company called Presidio. Presidio is the company that, if you've gotten a chance to go into our e-learning platform, they are the ones that designed it and provided that to us. So without further ado, Robert, go right ahead.
Thanks, Holly, and good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. Yeah, we got a nice crowd here this afternoon, so hopefully everybody's had lunch and they're wide awake and not sleepy, and we don't put you to sleep. 82 participants, that's great. As Holly said, the trainings that we've done up to date, this is our last one, and we really want to kind of focus this one on the Chromebook users. Very specialized. There's 3 sets of users within CareMedics. There's the Chromebook users, which we'll go through today. Then there's the people that have a laptop or desktop and may use some of the clients that are available to them in Microsoft. And then we have a subset of users that utilize a MacBook or a Macintosh computer, basically, which is a very different experience as well. So we're going to cover those users tomorrow. So you're the lucky group that gets to see all of our Chromebook. But if any of you have a desktop or a laptop that's corporate issued and you want to see some of the trainings we did earlier, I believe they're all going to be available and recorded, so you can go in and take a look at those trainings as well. All right. So again, my name's Robert Phillips. I've been doing this. I've been at Presidio about 6 years now. I've been doing Microsoft-based trainings and migrations. Our company's actually helping perform the migration as well. So got a lot of experience. I've done over hundreds of migrations in the past. So if there's something that you don't see that you have a question about, please use the chat and ask it. If we can, we'll answer it within the confines of our 2-hour period that we have here. If not, we will definitely publish that via a frequently asked questions and answer after we have all the various training sessions. So I am going to share my screen here so we can get started. And right there. Okay. And let me just move the videos over here. Great. Holly, just thumbs up. Can you see my screen? Okay, great. So for doing the training, we've got a Windows desktop, virtual desktop that we set up. Like I said, we've been flipping back and forth between a Chromebook user and just a regular desktop user in the past trainings. For this one here, we're just going to focus on a Chromebook user using Google Chrome as your access to all the applications that you'll have access to. So with that started, with that said, we'll open the Google Chrome browser here. And I've got a favorite set up already, or our home URL that its own homepage is going to open to. You can see it's called myapplications.microsoft.com. This is how you would access all your applications that will be available to you when you get your Chromebooks and when the migration period is complete. Okay, and you can see there's some things in here. There's an intranet, and the purpose of this really is so that you sign in once here and everything is available to you without having to sign into it a second time, right? So it's one username, one password to remember. Everything's going to be available to you here. There's an intranet in here. There's this e-training library, which we'll dive into here. Your Google Cloud G Suite is still going to be available to you. So that's not going away. If you needed it for reference or to reference anything in the past, maybe copy and paste things over into the new system, you'll have the ability to do that. And as you can see, there's some other applications here available. There's a ServiceNow app for help desk tickets. At some point, once the 365 rolls out, you'll be able to see that here as well. Once you enter into here, the easiest way to get to your Office applications or your Microsoft applications is to click the little button here in the upper left-hand corner of the browser. You'll see it's about 9, looks like 9 dots. When I hover over it, it says App Launcher. Okay, so I'm going to hover over that. I'm going to click that. And it basically spins up all the applications that I have access to. And if I don't see them here, I can click all apps and I get a list of everything that's within my realm of what I can do. So the way we want to structure the training is we want to start with the cloud storage first. There's two flavors of that. There's one, so you've used Google Drive in the past, and that contains all your personal folders and documents. That's called OneDrive in Microsoft world. Anything that's shared from a corporate level in the Caramedics domain will be under what's called SharePoint going forward. Okay, so we're going to start with SharePoint and we're going to walk through that, and then we'll jump into OneDrive and show you what that cloud storage looks like. So I'm going to click SharePoint. It's going to change my screen here. And this is my SharePoint file repository, basically. When I come in here, I see my frequently used sites. And I know because of the way it's set up that I only have access to this IT EUS folder. But I do want to show you some of the other components of the site as well. One being folder mapping and shared drives. If I click on the shared drives location here, this is where you're going to find all your corporate based folders and file shares that you use on a daily basis. And you can see that right now I'm seeing everything that's out there. But if I click on one of these that I don't have access to, I will get a message just saying that. I don't have access to this. I need permission to access this site. If I feel that this is a site that I should access, I can come into this window here and just type up a message saying why I need access to this and request the access, and it will go to the admin. Now, that doesn't mean you'll get approved, but at least you can make requests for access really easy here without having to pick up the phone or anything like that. Okay, I'm going to go back here one step. So basically, this will be populated once everything is migrated over. You can see that there's a lot of different things here. Like I said, I know I have access to this IT EUS. So if you have access to it when you open it, this will be more what it looks like. In the documents folder here, this is what I actually have access to. One more thing I just want to show you before we dive into the SharePoint files. There's also a root site or a site called folder mapping you'll see in SharePoint when you access it. I'm going to take you there and just show you what that looks like. And it's going to take a minute here and it'll actually expand. Read glasses on here. So if I scroll across all the way to the left, basically I'm seeing what the shared drive name was when it was in Google. So I can look down here and just scroll down. I see there's just a ton of documents and shared names here, right? I see who the owner is of those folders. And then if I keep scrolling across here, I'll see what this has been renamed in SharePoint. Okay, so, and then each of these has a link to them. And I don't think we've scrolled all the way across yet, but basically the SharePoint owners are there as well. If I were to click here in any of these links, it will take me to that actual SharePoint site with the file. So I'm sure this is one here I don't have access to. Let me just go back and find IT EUS. May take me a minute to find it. There we go. Anyways, this represents all the mappings. If you're having trouble finding things because it's been renamed or it has a different name than what it had in Google, this is going to be the really quick way for you to come in and go, oh yeah, I need JCP resources. That is now called programs. If I click this link, it's going to take me to that folder mapping in SharePoint. Okay, so let me go back to the home page here. And I'm actually going to come back into my EUS IT folder that I know I have access to. And we'll take a look at the documents. So inside of here, I see a couple folders that I have access to. I can share these folders out to other users. Let's just actually select this one test one here. We'll go Thursday's training class documents. And inside of this folder, I can see that I've got a document called test, okay? And as I hover over these various things, this first option that I get is share. So I can actually share this document out to other team members, anyone within the organization. I can literally start typing their name. Okay, and as soon as I start typing, it either looks for people that I've conversed with in the past, or it'll try to do a match based on the directory. I can include a message. Okay. If I want to just copy a link to this, and I can use this link in other areas, like I can paste it into a chat, I can paste it into a team site, into email, things like that. I can just click copy here, and it creates a shareable link. Tells me anybody that with the link will be able to edit it. Maybe I just want to make this read only. I can uncheck the editing piece. And now it says people in CareMedics with the link can view this. Okay. So that's the easy way to share a document, create a link. If I keep coming across here, I will see the 3 dots. If I click on those 3 dots, it gives me a lot more options that I can do. So with this particular doc, I can open it in a browser, which I will do. And you'll see it'll open up another window, and here's my Word document right here. Or if I have the desktop application, which I do, I can actually open it up in Word on my desktop as well. All right, so you can see words opening up, and there's my document in Word. Okay, let's just close this one down. There's my document here. All right, so as we look at some of the other options here, let's just, for instance, we could do a quick preview of it. Again, I can share here, I can share here, and I can share up here. So multiple different ways that you can share the document. I can copy a link of the document here. I can copy a link up here. I can download a copy of this. Maybe this is a template file, and I just want to download a new copy of it to my personal drive folder and manipulate it or create something new. I can do that here and not hurt the original document at all. Some of the other things I can do, I can move them to other folders, copy them to other folders. I could rename this document if I want. Maybe we'll just add Thursday here. And you'll see that as soon as I rename it, it renames it here. And then the last thing that just to kind of point out is this version history in here. And I'm not sure we've done a whole lot of changes on this. Okay, we have, that's great. So any documents that, have been authored by you or other people, as we show you the co-authoring piece and how to share these, you have the ability to come in here and let's say for whatever reason, I messed this up on Joseph and he wants to come back in, and I can easily restore that original version of the document. So any changes I made will be removed, and it will put the document back to the pristine condition that Joseph had when he started it. I can also view his copy of it. Maybe I want to see what's changed. I can remove it if I know collaboratively that version 3.0 is the one that we're using going forward. I could remove these old versions as well. Okay. So that's the SharePoint piece of it. We'll go back here and we'll jump into the OneDrive piece now. I see one question in the chat. Will our shared drives look like that once the migration occurs? Yeah, so once your migration occurs, that root level folder name may change as you see, but everything underneath it will stay the same. So the folder names will all look the same. The file names will all look the same once that migration occurs. So it'll look a lot more clear to you once you see that on your side.
Thank you.
Yep, good question. All right, so let's come back. Let's go back to our menu at the top here. And these are all my apps again. So this time we're going to walk through OneDrive and what OneDrive means. Let me close down this test doc here. So my OneDrive, essentially, this is all your personal files, right? So I've got some personal folders here. I've got a desktop folder. I've got a documents folder. I've got a pictures folder, and then some other folders that I have created in here. It's real easy to create new. So if I say Thursday group, this is a new one. Maybe I want to create a nested folder within here. I just create a new folder. Okay. So there, that means that's this little like shout type of thing means that my I know that this is a new folder that's been created on this side. I can go back to my files and my Thursday group, and there's my afternoon session. So real easy to create file or folders in here. If I want to create an actual file in here, I can go new and I can create a new Word document, maybe a new Visio drawing. Let me just close this down. So in here, I can draw different shapes. Perhaps, maybe I don't have Visio. There we go. So just an example of just a dot diagram, basically, a couple arrows. And I'll just save this. Actually, as I'm working with this, you'll notice that it's actually saving it as just drawing. Okay, I haven't really named this yet, but if I come back to my group here, I can see that I've got a document that's being created in here called drawing. Now, if I want to save that as something specific, I can do a file save as, and instead of drawing copy, I'm going to call this call it training flowchart. And you can see now it's renamed it here in the window. And if I come back to my folder, there it is there. It actually, because I did a save as, it created my original as well. So I could probably go back and remove that one at some point. But again, this is how easy it is to create new documents in here if I've got documents that are already loaded. So we'll just, and like I just showed you in the SharePoint thing, it's the same type of setup and look and feel in here. I can share something very easily just by clicking the share button or the three dots, and you'll see I get that same exact menu that I got in SharePoint, I get in my OneDrive as well. So if I have assigned this document to other people or I've given people access to it, I have the ability to come in and revoke that access. I can add access to it. And I can either notify Holly or not that she's got access to this document. I'll just grant her access so that I can show you what that looks like. Now, if I come back in and I manage my access, I'll see that Holly should have access in here as well. Whoops. Maybe I didn't say yes. Okay. So same type of features in here. I can share it, copy a link to this file if I want. Same way that I did the other way. I can give people editor access. I can give people outside the organization access with it. Typically, you can't let them edit, but you can give them read-only access. Maybe I want to block this from being downloaded locally. Maybe it's got some sensitive information. I can set that off. I can make it read-only access. Okay. Just unchecking the editor. Maybe I only want to share this with certain people. I don't want anyone in the CareMedics domain to have access to this. So I have a lot of different ways that I can share this and grant access to it. Again, we walk through version history details. If I take a look at it, it shows me who's got, so if I look at the details of this, it pops up a window over here on the right. It gives me a little preview of what that document looks like. Tells me that one person's viewing it right now. These are the folks that have access to it, training user and Holly. Any kind of activity that's been done on that document is over here last week. What type of document it is, the path to it, how big it is. So lots of good information if you click details. Let me just close that back down. And again, version history. We're the only one that's made changes to it, so there's nothing else in here to show. Okay, so I'm just going to pause quick and just take a look at the syllabus to make sure that we are following along. We've showed links, offline synchronization. We're not going to show that in this session. We will show how to attach these via Outlook in a little bit. We've showed OneDrive, and we're going to open up Teams next and walk through that, and then we'll show how to co-author some of these documents. What are the defaults of those permissions? Do we need to make sure user access is specified before closing the file? So the default, if you were to just share this without making any changes to it whatsoever, the default is anybody within the organization would have editor privileges to access the file. It's as you can see, it's real easy, and there's some settings you can do as well that allows you to make sure it's only read access versus. So if I look at my OneDrive settings here, you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner, I click the little wheel icon right there, and that's where I can actually get into my OneDrive. So some of the OneDrive settings that I have, I'll bring those up. If I miss shared emails, I can send reminders out. These are the notifications that I get right now. If I look at my OneDrive, I can manage access, I think, in here. Yeah, some of these are some pretty detailed. I'm just looking for the one where I may be able to change it so that I can, and it doesn't look like I can do that. Classic OneDrive. So yeah, I don't have an ability there to say I just want people to have read only by default, but these are some of the things that I can do as far as changing my preferences and things like that. So let's go back here. Here's my folder mapping again. All right. Okay, so basically what we're going to do next is we're going to come back to the menu at the top here, and we're going to click this down, and now we're going to jump into Teams, and we'll show how Teams works with OneDrive and SharePoint. We'll show a little bit more about Teams as well. So you can see once I click that, it opens Teams up in another browser tab up here at the top. It's going to take a minute just to set up my environment here. Okay. Stay in the know, turn on desktop notifications. I'll do that for now. Turn them on. So now you'll see I'm going to get prompted whenever anything happens. So if we look at this Teams window across the top here, you've got a big giant search window here. This is really great. We'll show this in Outlook as well, but the searching capabilities is fantastic. It's heavily indexed, so I can search almost anything. So I know I shared a folder or a file earlier called Outlook 2019. So I'm just going to put that in quotes, and I'm going to enter it in my search box. And I can see that it's come up in a couple messages I've had with people in chat. Here's the actual file that I'm looking for right here. And you'll see it highlights all the areas where it took a hit basically on what your search index was that you typed in. Okay. I can also search on people. So if I want to just find my conversations I've had with Caleb, it brings me right to it here. There's that Outlook training PDF as well. Maybe I want to search for things I've typed to Holly. Hold on. And that contained training. Okay. So all of these things contain both training and Holly, either in the message or in the document that I'm looking for. So for instance, you might say, well, why has this one come up? Because it was modified by Holly, although it still says it's a training for a title. Okay. So searching, as this grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger is going to be a key to finding things real easy. It's a nice little feature. As I move across the top of the window here more, I'm going to see these three dots that are here. This is where all my team setting is right here. So if I click that down and I see the wheel that says settings, I'm going to open that up. And these are where all my team settings reside for the Chromebook users. So I have the ability to use a light colored theme, dark colored theme. Maybe I want high contrast. I can shrink and grow things based on the density of comfy versus compact. I can change my default language. I can turn off animations. If somebody sends me a video or something like that, or a GIF file, I can have it not show that by default. I can schedule my out of office in here. I'm not going to. I want to show you how to do that in Outlook. It's where most people use it, but just know that you have the ability to do that in Teams as well. And then if I look at my accounts, basically this is my training user account that I have here. If I had others, they would show up in here. For instance, I have a Microsoft corporate account as well. So I have a couple different accounts within my team site. Privacy, I can block certain people from contacting me. I can request read receipts. I can participate in surveys. There's all kinds of things I can do here. The notifications piece, like I said, it popped up and showed notifications in the bottom right-hand window. You'll see I can turn those off. I can turn those on. I can show a preview of the message if I want. I'll turn that on so you can see it. I'll leave sounds off for now. And then I can get really customized as to what exactly I want to be notified about. Maybe meetings and calls is important. I want to see when someone's calling me, but I don't really care about chat mentions or reactions or messages, right? So I can really change how this notifies me in my client. The rest of these I can't show you because I don't have a mic or anything set up on this, or speakers or a camera, so I can't do any of the Teams calling type things. If I save any chats or transcripts, these are just basically where those files go to. Okay. Any questions on the settings? All right. So if I just hover over this little TU at the upper right-hand corner, that's my training user profile. You'll see there's a little green check mark or available sign next to me. If I click on this here, it expands and shows me my username. I can actually edit a status message. So right now I've just got one that says performing training via Zoom. So when people hover over me, they'll see that message in my status, and I can set that today, tomorrow, expires in an hour, 4 hours, whatever I want to do, even custom. Okay, another spot where I can schedule my out of office. So you saw it in the settings. Now you're seeing it here as well. Let's just go back. And then you'll see here, I've got a green check mark. If I click that available, these are some of my options that I have. I can mark myself as being busy. I can say I've stepped out for lunch, I'll be right back. Or maybe I just want to not appear online at all, right? I'm trying to get some work done, whatever. I can also say do not disturb. And Teams is great. Like if I'm presenting and I'm on my desktop or I'm on my Chromebook, it'll mark you as do not disturb so that when people send you things, they don't just pop up on your screen if you're presenting, things like that. So let me set the do not disturb on, and you can see it changed it up here. And then it also gave me a little ribbon bar, status bar here that says your status is set to do not disturb. You'll only get notifications if it's an urgent message or one of your priority contacts, which I can set. So let me just pop back to my OneDrive here, and I'm just going to ask the team somebody on the team to send me a message. And you'll notice before I was getting pop-ups in the lower right-hand corner. Now I'm not, because I've got the do not disturb. But yet if I look at my tab up here at the top, I see that in parentheses I have a little 1. That designates that someone's trying to reach me, but it's not throwing up any notifications. Okay, so that's how the do not disturb works. And if I come back in here, I see I've got one new chat. And if I open that up, there's Holly. And I can basically hover over that and I can react to it. I can respond with anything here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the do not disturb back off, and I'm just going to mark myself available. And you'll see that the status goes away, and now I'll see pop-ups and things like that when they come into the chat. Okay, so moving forward, if we look over here on the left-hand side, this is what's called my navigation menu here. The very top one that I have is activity. So anytime someone reacts to something I said, or looks like Caleb made me an owner of this Office 365 training at one point, it shows me a notification in my feed that that was done. You probably saw me click on this chat icon here. That opens up all my active chats that I have. So I've got an active one going right now with Holly. I've got one going with Sharon, but I can see that she's stepped away. She's offline. I've got one going with Vivian as well from this morning. She sent me, you know, a little GIF video basically saying I'm up. It's Monday, Wednesday. You know, it just fun things that you can do in the chat. There's a lot of different things that you can do in here versus just having text chats. If I have a chat going, looks like Sharon just came back online. There's a chat from Sharon. Okay, and you can see it's popping up on the lower right-hand corner telling me about my any open chats that I don't have. Let's just say I wanted to add someone to this chat with Sharon. I just have to come all the way over to the right here. And actually I'm curious. Yeah, it's not going to let me do that because I don't have a phone set up. So I wanted to show you the phone system to this, but it's not letting me show that. So now I got to get back to my Teams. There we go. So normally if you've got a microphone and a video camera, things like that, you can click either one of these and initiate either a phone conference or a video chat with the person that you're chatting with. If I want to add somebody to this chat, I can just click the people icon over here and I can add Sharon to my chat with Holly. And you'll notice that all my now Holly and Sharon both are within this chat group. Okay. Next to show you really is what's called a group or a structured chat. You can see we've got a few of those here: Wednesday morning Teams training Tuesday afternoon. So we're going to create one. The easiest way to do this is to hover over this button right here that says new chat next to the chat window. Okay. And when I click that, I have the ability to enter a name, an email, a group, or a tag. So I'm just going to drop this down here. I'm going to give it a group name. Okay, we'll call it Teams Training Wednesday afternoon. And then I'm going to add my training group here. So as I'm typing these, you notice that they're showing up here. Okay, Sharon. At one point we had Stephen in here. I don't know if he's attending this session or not, but we'll add him as well. Kendall. All right, I think that's most of our group. And now I can start a new conversation with all of them. All right, so now everybody that I've added to this is all part of this team, and I can see, you know, Kendall's typing something now. It tells me that she's active in doing that. You know, maybe I want to send a GIF of my own. Just something to have fun, right? So now I can see, you know, the different reactions to it. I've got a team chat going on. Maybe I want to use this to actually walk through a document, right? So that we can make changes together. So if I look at the bottom of the screen here, these are all the options that I have for putting things within the chat. That's an awesome one. So what I'll do is click my little paperclip here. And I'm going to select my OneDrive because I want to share a file that's in my OneDrive location. And what we'll do is we'll look at training presentations. Just expand this over. And I want to share this syllabus document with everyone. So it'll actually put the document in my chat window that I have, and then it'll say people in my organization with the link can edit. Again, you know, we want to collaborate on this, so that's what I want it to be. And maybe just give it a quick little message. Now, when everybody sees this document in the chat window, like they didn't see it until I actually posted it there. So Google's telling me that I just shared this. So now if I open this up here, and everybody else can open it as well. Basically what will happen is I can see now Holly's in here, Kendall's in here, Sharon's in here, right? And they're all color coded. So, you know, I can see Sharon's editing this section of it, Holly's editing this section here of it, Kendall's editing this section here, and it's all following their color coding. I can see the comments that they're putting in the side. So this is true like co-authoring of a document, okay? Maybe I want to insert something here in the top. I don't have anything I can. And I will make this centered in the document. All right, so we're all making changes at once. We can see what each other's doing. Great collaboration team. Right, and as we're doing this, it's actually saving the document as we do it. So if I come back to my OneDrive location here, let me just reload it. And this was in our training presentations and our little syllabus document that we have here. You can see it's telling me it was modified about a minute ago, but modified by Holly. But if I look at this now, and I look at version history, I can see all the edits that were done over the past, looks like afternoon. So we're on version 8 of it. I can, again, go back and restore an older version if I need to. But you can see basically how easy it is to work on documents simultaneously, no matter what it is. People can approve it. They can make comments on the changes that you made. Truly co-authoring, right? So I'll pause there. Just want to make sure we've got all the, can we drag and drop as well? Yes. Anywhere that is available to drag and drop. So if I come back to my Teams chat here, I'm just going to close this window down. I'm assuming you mean like in OneDrive, right? So if I'm in OneDrive and let's see here, let's go back to my files. So if I want to take this test doc right here and I want to put it in Thursday group, I think what you're asking is, can I click it, drag it, and drop it into that folder, right? So there you see it disappears from here. If I go into Thursday group, there's my document right there.
Nancy, did that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Yep, she said yes.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Oops, sorry, my video went off. Okay, so we've covered SharePoint. That's where all the corporate files are stored. We've covered OneDrive and how all your personal files, you'll work with them similar to the way that you did in Google. We've worked through co-authoring tools so you can see what that looks like. We've worked through online presence and chat. Any questions so far? How does things look from Google Drive go into OneDrive? Yes, so if you've got, I don't know what the G drive is in Google. I'm assuming that's probably your My Documents or one of your personal folders. But basically anything that's a personal folder of yours will be migrated into your OneDrive over here. Okay. Let me just close this document down here. Close right here. And I'm just going to close some of these other ones that we have open. Try to keep it cleaner. Okay, so back to our Teams folder. So we've gone through activity, we've gone through chats, how to do one-to-one chats, one-to-many, set up a group chat where you can share everything. As we look at some of these different things in here, we've shown how to share a folder or a file basically and edit that together. You'll notice if I look across the top of this, I have a chat tab and I also have a files tab. If I click the files tab, it'll show any files that were shared in the chat in a nice little section here that I can share it and basically look at the details. I can download it, I can open it. If I have the desktop app, I can open it there. I can copy a link to it. Somebody asked earlier, how do I quickly find files that my group has been working on? This is by far the easiest way to do that. Some other kind of neat things to show you. If you look, there's a plus sign next to the chat here for this team. I can add another tab, so I'm going to click that on. We've been showing people whiteboards, so we'll keep that going. So if you want a digital whiteboard, if you've got, you know, something that you can draw on with a electronic pencil or something like that, or even if you just want to use your mouse to draw something, share a whiteboard with your team, you can do that. Just give it a second to stand it up here. So basically now I can draw anything I want in here, and everybody else that's in the team can collaborate with me on the whiteboard as well. So I'm just going to represent a picture of a document, and these documents will be migrated over to what's called a database. Holly is typing some messages in here as well. Okay, so real collaborative. I mean, there's text you can do in here too if you wanted to do bullet list. For whatever reason, it's not letting me type in there. Oh, there we go. Whoops. Let me try that again. So lots of different things you can do here. Whiteboard's just one of the things. If I click add here again, I'll see I can add a OneNote here. So I forgot what the Google equivalent, I think it's Keep maybe or something like that. You know, if you have a notebook section, you can include that here. PDFs, if I wanted to share a link, things like that, you could do all that stuff in here. One thing that I'll just pause and Holly, maybe let you explain too, like one thing we're asking folks is to not update files in the new system yet until we get through the migration this weekend. We don't want to have you update things that might get overwritten.
Yes,
So-
thank you for mentioning that, Robert. What we're going to ask you guys to do is, even though you have access to these systems right now, we're asking please don't utilize them, because what's happening is we have some people who are working in both systems. And what that's going to do is during the migration, anything that is in your Google system is going to be sent over to your Microsoft system. So if you have created something in Microsoft that has the same name as something over in your Google system, it's just going to write over it. So you just don't want to do that. So what we're asking everybody to do is, even though it's there and you can utilize it, please don't. We just don't want any of your files to get messed up or anything like that. So if you would just stay out of it until after the migration, we'd really appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. Any other questions around what we've shown so far? Chat functionality. As we come over here to the left-hand navigation under Teams, we'll just show like what a structured Teams channel is. Right now, these are only available for IT until they work everything out with them. It takes quite a bit of governance and training and being, you know, once these are created, it creates a lot of subcategories and files underneath them. It creates security groups, things like that. So these will be rolled out eventually. These are structured team channels. So you can see these never go away. It's not like a chat, basically. It's almost like an invite type thing and something that you subscribe to. And And if I go down one more, I'll see a little icon that says Presidio. And this is where all your e-training is located, right? So if I take a look at this, I can pop in with my credentials that I have. Holly and team is pushing out some training curriculums to you, learning paths, which will help you get started and understand different things. Microsoft 365 101 basically takes you through like the Office web apps, which is what we're doing now. Maybe you want to know how this is going to look on your phone. You could go through the mobile app demonstration. And these are all quick little videos under 10 minutes. Most of them are anywhere between a minute and 5 minutes. And it basically just shows you how to set up your mobile phone and things like that. So lots of really good content in here. If there's something particular that you're looking for, you can go in here and search it. Maybe I want to know what is focused inbox. All right, so it'll show me in Outlook on the web how to use junk, focus, and filter, tighter space in Outlook, all kinds of different things. Maybe this is the one I'm looking for, focused inbox. So it'll give me the lesson in that as well. So if you've got certain things that you're looking for, come in here and do a search. Otherwise, the course library is massive. As you can see, it's any of the applications are in here. Office 2021, if I want Excel training, if I want more Teams training, if I want Teams Essential, there's 45 different lessons in here of all the things that you can do. GIFs and emojis in chat, tagging someone to a chat. That's probably one thing it's worth mentioning here. If I'm chatting with the group here and I want someone called out specifically, I can put an @ in here and say, Holly, can you and she'll get a message in her feeds or her activity that says, Robert mentioned you in this such and such chat, and it'll give her the ability to click there and go right to it. Okay. All right, so that's the Presidio training. We went through that. Awesome. And then the next one down is called shared drives. While you're in the Teams client, if you want to look at everything that's in SharePoint, again, this looks very similar to the SharePoint shared drives that we did before. It's just another easy way to access it. So as you can see, there's several different ways to access these folders and groups. You'll see the icon 2 down from this is called Files. That's going to be all my OneDrive content. So if I click OneDrive here, there's all my OneDrive file storage as well. And again, all the same look and feel, consistency, the 3 buttons to get you different things that you can do in here. Okay. And then the last thing in here is calendar. So if I pop open my calendar quickly, I can see just a quick snapshot of my week. And this is integrated right into my email. So anything I do in Outlook will show up in here. I can go out a couple days in advance and take a look at things. I can always click this today button and come back. Okay. I can go months out. Maybe I want to go and see a date in September. Okay. I can click today and it brings me back. I can do meet nows, which is basically impromptu meetings. If I want to do a video or an audio call, again, I can't in this desktop because I don't have the peripherals to do it, but you all should in your clients. I can do a new meeting in here, similar to what I'm going to show you in a little bit with your calendar. Add titles, I can add attendees. So, and the basis of this is so that you don't really have to leave Teams if you don't want to. You can do most of your things right in here, with the exception of seeing your inbox or your mailbox. Okay, so we've covered SharePoint, OneDrive, everything that there's to know from a high level in Teams and how to use it. Holly, did I miss anything that we went over earlier in Teams? or
I don't think so.
anybody on the team?
I don't think so.
Okay. And looks like our chat message is pretty clean, so I think we're good to keep moving, right? Okay. So the last piece of this, we're right about on schedule. We spend about an hour or so in Outlook just to show you email and how that works and how to customize it and set it up. With the Chromebook version of it, there's not as many settings as you can do, so we might actually get through this a little quicker, but so we'll drop our apps down, we'll pick Outlook. So by default, this is the Outlook client that you'll see. So this is all your mail. Again, across the top here is that great search tool again. You know, if I'm looking for emails from Caleb, I can type his name in and it'll just pull up and filter the results that I've got from Caleb here. Okay, it'll show me his contact info. I can view his profile here if I want. Again, when I view profile, it shows me who his manager is, who works with him on his team, all his contact info. If he and I have conversed an email, it'll bring those up here as well. I can add him to my contacts if I haven't already. Or maybe I want to search on end user. All right, so you'll see it's again highlighting everything it found, whether it's in the subject line. Like this one doesn't have it in the subject, but if I click on it, I don't see where the end user is in that one. But these ones here, if I click on any of these, it'll highlight exactly where the end user was found in the body of the email. Okay. So that's search. Again, a lot of function that you can do with that. If we keep coming across the top here, I can do a Teams call here if I had the capability. I can do a Teams chat here which is quite easy if I have the capability. You'll see it pops open Teams from Outlook. I can get to my OneNote. So if I want to integrate maybe a meeting notes or something with OneNote, I can do that. I can get to my to-do list or my day here. Basically, is going to give me a snapshot of my calendar. All right, so when I click that, you'll see on the right over here, I just want to close this off here so I can see my calendar. I'm trying to find where I can size this here. But basically, it gives me a snapshot of what today looks like, what tomorrow looks like. I can scroll down and see all my meetings here on my calendar within my window. I can turn off or on notifications here. So I don't have any notifications right now, but I can customize all of those right here in this window. So any kind of mentions, likes, document mentions, travel deliveries, I can customize all those. So we'll leave the calendar here. If I want to look at my to-dos or my task list, I've got all those right here as well. It just gives me everything I need really at my fingertips. Before we go into the settings, let's just take a look at the question mark here, which is help. So if there's something particular that I'm looking for, again, that focused inbox. All right, so it tells me right here how to do it. For more information, turn off focused inbox. So anything you need help with, click the question mark, type it in, and it'll literally walk you through how to do that. Let's go and turn our to-dos or our calendar back on. And now we'll go into our settings. So again, the little wheel here gets me to all my Outlook settings. And instead of doing just the simple settings here, I'm going to say view all Outlook settings down at the bottom here. Okay, so these are all the settings that I have. It jumps right to mail, but I'm going to go back up to general. Again, I can set my language, my time zone here. I can add other time zones if I need to from my calendar right here. My appearance, if I want to choose a different theme, I can do that with Outlook. If I want to do dark mode, you'll see how it flips it immediately to a darker transition versus the lighter one. Here's all my notifications. Notify me when a new message arrives, play a sound, notify me when I receive a reminder. maybe I don't want to have these turned on. I can turn these off, and maybe I just want to leave the reminders on. When Outlook is closed, but your browser's open, notifications still appear in the corner of your screen. That's probably a good feature, right? Send me desktop notifications. This is if I have the desktop running. Again, there's the notification there. You'll see it on the desktop. If I scroll this down, there's some other things I can do when a chat, when a new chat arrives, I can display a notification for that as well. There's, so we'll just discard any of those. So within your email file, whether it's email or calendar or even task and to-dos, you have the ability to categorize things. And sometimes that comes in handy, especially in the calendar piece. I'll show that to you in a little bit, but I've got some basic calendar or categories here. Real easy to create a new one. We'll call this partner. And we'll just give it a color. We'll go pink. Okay, so I easily added that. I can edit any of these. I can delete these in the categories. Just make a note of these. We're going to get into these in a little bit here and show you how to use those. Accessibility, if you want things in a larger context, things like that, or text size, you can do that. You can say what keyboard shortcuts do to what things. Mobile devices. Again, this will tell me if I have any mobile devices that are syncing with my mailbox. I don't have any set up. You will, obviously. So your devices will show up here with your phone number and the status that you have that are connected to your email. Distribution groups, if I'm part of any, they'll show up here. Because this is a training account, I don't have any distribution groups. Storage basically gives me the size of my mailbox. So this is telling me I have a 99 gig mailbox capacity. Right now I'm using very small amount of it. Okay, and it tells me where the distribution is of that storage. I can easily empty items in here. So let's say I want to clean out my deleted items while I'm here. Click empty. And I can say anything that's older than 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. I mean, I know I don't have anything older than any of these, so I'm just going to say all. It'll prompt me, do I really want to delete all these from my deleted items? I'll say yes. And you'll see that one goes away. So real quick, easy way to look at what your mailbox storage is. Maybe you're getting towards capacity and you can come in here and do some cleanup on those. Okay. Privacy and data. Not really sure what any of that is. And then search capabilities. When we search, by default, it's searching everything within the inbox. You can just have it search current folder that you're in, all folders, or you can include deleted items, or you don't have to include them. At the top, you'll notice when I searched, it showed the top 3 most relevant results. I can shut that off as well and just show everything. So those are some of the features you have in settings in the general tab. In the mail tab, a lot more features. We probably won't be able to cover all of them. We talked about focused inbox. You can sort those. Basically what that does is if you in your mail, you've signed up for maybe a list or something like that in the past, or you've used your corporate email for something and it's not really related to work, it'll shift that into the other folder, which we'll show you here in a bit. And keep the focused inbox basically of everything that you're really centers around your workplace. You can shut that off and say, don't bother. And basically everything that comes to you will go into your inbox. Message height. This basically will change like the size of the font for the messages. It'll change, from medium, small, and large. How many rows should each message use? Switch between one and multiple. I won't dive into a lot of these. Holly, some of the things that we were showing before with the menu options, this is where a lot of these things are buried, is in the settings. So whether I want my reading pane to be on the right, at the bottom. So if I just say at the bottom and I save this, you'll notice behind this window, everything changed. I'm going to just close this down and come back into it. So my look and feel changed so that now I have my preview up here and my reading tab is in the bottom here. Okay. Let's go back into the Outlook settings. And so we got layout. How do we want things to be organized in the reading pane? What do you want to do when you move or delete an item that you're viewing? Go to the next one. Message list format, sender name first or subject, show preview text. Lots of different things you can set in here. You guys will have to kind of play around with them and see what you like. As far as an email signature, this is probably the easiest place to do that. So compose and reply. Basically, you can set two different types of signature, one for new emails and one for what you want when you do a reply to an email. So we will give this a signature name. We're going to call it full. And we will type in our signature here. And I think I have the ability to put my business card in here. Just got to find it. Maybe not. Insert link. Yeah, so it doesn't say it, but so we'll just type a full email one here. Give myself a real official title. Maybe put my cell phone, my email. And I could even do an address or even my LinkedIn profile, anything like that I can put in here. All right, so that's my full signature. And I can come down here and say for new messages, I got to figure out how to save it first. So there it saves it. Now it's my full, as you can see, and I can assign that to my new messages. Maybe I want to have another one for my replies. So I'm going to say new signature. I'm going to call it reply. And this one's just going to be a little more simplified, right? Maybe I'll just put my phone in this one. And I'll save this one. And now I can assign this one to all my replies and forwards. Okay. Save. So just keep that in mind when we set up new emails from now on. It's going to have the signature automatically applied to those. If I didn't want to do that and I wanted to apply it myself, I could come back in here and just say no signature for any new messages. I'll show you where you can assign that, when you create the message. Some other settings in here. In the past training classes, we showed how the BCC is hidden from the new message. This here just lets you click it on, so it's always shown in here. You can also show the from address as well. Default text, maybe I want a certain font to be how I enter my messages. Maybe I want a certain color, font, things like that. You can do all that in here as well. Undo sends, joyful animations. These are all different things you can do. I'm going to just kind of go through here pretty quick here. Attachments. I can choose them from OneDrive. I can have it ask me how I want to share them. I can always share them as links. And honestly, I would, leave it as asking you each time. Sometimes you may want to send them as just a copy, which means they'll get their own separate copy of a file. Maybe sometimes you want to set them as a link, which means if they make changes to it or things like that, you'll see the changes. You'll be able to back them out and such. So this one I recommend just kind of leaving it the way that it is. If you've got other storage accounts, maybe Dropbox, Google Drive, you can add those in here as well. So you can pick those if you need to. Right now, the primary account is CareMedix OneDrive. If I want to create any rules in here, I can. So maybe I want to add a rule. I'll call it read receipts. Okay, and I'm going to select a condition. I'm just going to say the subject includes, actually I'll do subject or body includes read receipts. And then my action is going to be, I'm going to move this to a folder. I'm going to select the folder, and I actually have one called read receipts here. Move to a different folder. Unless I deleted it. There it is. Okay. And I can also have it run that rule now, so it'll run it against any email that's in my mailbox. Save. So that's how you do rules. Sweep, I'm not real familiar with. It doesn't, oh, I can basically run the sweep across any of the rules in my inbox at any time. Junk email, I can add people here that I don't want to receive any email from, and it'll block them from sending. I can also add people that I consider safe, so it won't even go through the check to my junk folder. There's some other actions I can do here. Quick action menu at the top. I'll show you where that is. These are some of the other customized actions or menus that I can add. Toolbars, things like that are all in here. Sync email. You don't need to worry about that one. Just trying to see if there's anything else in here. Message handling, forwarding, automatic replies. So automatic replies is a good one. This is basically your out of office message. If I select to turn this on, I can select a time period. So let's say I'm going on vacation today and I'll be returning Monday. So I'll run this from tomorrow or Friday all the way till 5 p.m. I can choose to block my calendar for the whole period so nobody can set up any meetings. I can automatically decline any new invitations that fall between this time period, which is nice. I can decline and cancel any existing meetings that I have. And then here I can actually type some messages for people inside my organization. Okay. You know, maybe I want to give them a name of someone to reach out to here. And I could provide Holly's email here if I wanted to. And then maybe I want to have people outside my organization get a different message. Something real simple like, okay. And when I save that and I turn it on, now you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, I get this message saying automatic replies are currently turned on. So anybody that sends me email is going to get these automatic replies until I come either back in here and turn it off with the little tick mark here, or I can do it from my email client as well. So I'm just going to select to turn it off. And that's how you set up your out of office. Retention policies, save. Won't go into that. I'm not going to go into SMIME or groups. Okay, so that's pretty much all your mail settings. Just quickly go through the calendar. You have the ability to set your day of the week that you start your work day on. Maybe it's Sunday, maybe it's Monday. I can show hours in either 15-minute increments or 30, you know, depending on how you schedule your meetings. These are my work days, my work hours. Maybe I want my appearances to be bold and light. Here's my time zone. I can add a time zone. Let's just say, I know you guys have an office in Oakland. So I'll add the Oakland office in here. And that way, if I'm creating meetings with folks out there, I can see, you know, what this is going to appear like in their time zone. Okay. Save. And then finally, the people, basically, it's just how I view my contacts. So I want them by first name or last name. I'm just going to leave that as the default. And that's pretty much it for all the custom settings you can do. Actually, let's go back and turn that view back onto the right. So general. I don't remember where it was. Layout. Turn this back to the right. All right, so now we're back to where we started. We've gone through the settings. These are all my notifications, different things that I can do. And so as I'm selecting my mailbox, so I'll pause real quick here just to see if we have any other questions. It looks like, is there a set date for messages to delete? No, there's not. So there'll probably be some sort of archiving policy that's set up, and there'll be some retention policies and set dates around, once things hit a year old or something, they may automatically move to an archive folder within your mailbox. And you can see that here on my screen. I've got an archive folder. Basically, it'll be a copy of your entire folder structure under the archive. I don't have anything old enough in here to be in here, but I could set policies and make things clean up automatically if I wanted to, based on that. Good question. Do all of my old Gmails go into Outlook? I believe so. I don't think they're turning on any restrictions or date ranges as to what they're moving and what they're not. I don't know if anyone from the IT team is on the call. But
They're
we can
not,
make.
but they're not yet. But my understanding is that everything is moving over, and we're going to keep it that way for a bit because we want to make sure that everything does migrate over. So and I don't know the time frame. I can't tell you if it's going to be 2 weeks, a month. I don't know the time frame. But what they're going to do is they're going to have both systems available. Now, the Google system will be read-only. But if you find that there's something that didn't migrate over that should have, we'll be able to go back and assist you with that.
Great. We have access to sticky notes. You will, I don't think any of your Google Keep and things like that will transfer over, so you'll have to set those up again. Trying to see where sticky notes are here. In the client, I know where they are. I don't see them. Bookings, Yammer. I don't see sticky notes in here. Curious as to where those might be. So best way to do that is to go back to help. Yep, if I could type. Okay, so create, view, edit sticky notes, Outlook, basically outlook.com, go to the notes folder. See a notes folder. Yeah, I'm not seeing a notes folder on here, so I know you can do it. Just need to figure out where the notes folder is. Is it up to the top here? Maybe it's right here. That's a OneNote feed. And I think OneNote, oh, there we go. So basically, this is how we're saying that there's your sticky note right there. Okay. Pretty simple little, and then I can get access to those at any time. And there's all my notes, either my OneNotes or my sticky notes are all right here.
Do you by chance know if we'll have access to be able to save them to our desktop, the sticky notes?
Yes, so if you have the desktop version of this, again, we're not focusing this training on it, but I'll show you this. If I open up my Microsoft Outlook client, and I'm just going to expand this here because at the bottom, I've got my sticky notes are right here for navigation. There they are right here. So same spot basically on your desktop. Now, to your point, I think is, can you actually move these out to your desktop? You absolutely can drag and drop these out here and then they show up on your desktop.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yep, you bet. Okay, so let's come back into here. Let's see, is there any questions that we didn't get to? Can we schedule Zoom meetings through Outlook calendar? Yes, you can. You'll have an icon in there to be able to do that, similar to a Teams meeting. Do all my old Gmail go into Outlook? I believe everything is being moved over. I'm not sure how long you'll have access to your old stuff. Holly, do you know the answer to that?
I could find the unmute button, that would be awesome. That's one thing we have not decided yet. We really just want to make sure that everything has migrated well. So I don't want to say 2 weeks, a month. I don't want to put a date on it. We just want to make sure that the migration goes smoothly. So they are going to be keeping both systems available to be able to go back to archive, look at the old system, but I don't have a time limit on that. And also, just to let you know, again, we can use Teams for meetings. You can still utilize Zoom. Zoom is not going away. The only thing that will go away is Google Meets. We will not be using Google Meets anymore.
Thank you.
Yeah, another question. Well, we were told Lucid Chart is replacing Visio. Will Visio still be available? I mean, it is now. I think it depends on the license that you have. You know, I can't answer that. That's probably something that the IT team will be able to answer for you, Daniel.
I'm not aware of that either, but we will definitely put that in the notes and
Okay.
and ask and get that answer for you.
Yep. Cool. All right. Any other questions? I think we answered most of those. So next 20 minutes or so we'll spend in Outlook itself, crafting new messages, moving messages around, things like that, kind of showing you what that looks like. So if I just look across the screen here, I see a list of all my folders in the first column here. I can set favorite folders. So if you've got like 300 folders in your inbox and some of them are buried, like if I've got one called Health Docs nested under Human Resources, I can right click on that and I can make that a favorite, add to favorites. And you'll see that it stays right at the top of my list of folders that I work with. Okay, so it's just a real easy way to put your top folders up here. Maybe I want to remove some of these from favorites. I can do that from here as well. And again, that's just a right click with your mouse. And you can add and remove those as needed. If I want to create new folders under here, let's say I want to add something to marketing, I can just say create new subfolder. And we can call this something like that, right? And you'll see it nest itself right under marketing. Actually, that probably should have gone under human resources. So I'm going to click and drag that up to human resources and it'll move it up there. So just to give you an idea, all the different things you can do in the Chromebook browser, drag and drop. Somebody asked that earlier. I can do it on email messages. I can drag one over here and drop it. I can drag folders over there. I can do anything really that I can do on the desktop for the most part. I can drag and drop. I also have the ability to right click on any email as well. And you can see when I do that, I've got all kinds of different options in here: reply, forward, delete, move to a folder, copy to a folder. Maybe I want to categorize this email. We talked about that before, call this client meetings, and you can see it just categorizes it with the client meetings here. I can pin this, I can flag it. You know, maybe this email is something that I want to flag so that I can get to later. Maybe I just want to mark this as unread so that I can come back in later and easily go through this and say, all right, just filter all my unread emails, right? And then I can go back at the end of the day and just walk through the list again to make sure I've responded or, you know, I've done everything that I need to do on my emails. Okay. We talked about the focus inbox and the other. Obviously, I haven't signed up for anything like that, so I'm not going to see any of those other emails. Maybe you get a email inside of other or inside of focused, and you want to make that junk, right? You can ignore it. You know, you can move it to your junk folder here if you want. There's all kinds of different ways that you can move folders around or messages around. I can delete it here. I got my little trash can over here, so I can easily delete messages, you know, that I don't need anymore. And basically, you see every time I do it, it's saying, "Oh, you realize you did that? Do you want to undo it?" So real easy to kind of move around here. We showed how to create rules out at the other piece of this. Sorting messages. Maybe I want to sort by from instead of date. So if I come into the filter, I can sort by from, and then it gives me all my messages sorted by who they came from. Maybe I just want to sort by size. If I'm looking to clean this out, maybe subject I want to sort by, so you can see it's putting everything together basically. So we'll go back to sort by date. All right, and anytime I select these previews, it'll expand the message over here. This is called my read area here. And then in my particular message, I've got all kinds of options, right? I can do my replies here, reply to all, forward, reply. I can delete it, archive it. Here's my junk. Maybe I want to designate this as junk, and from now on, anything that comes in from Holly will go to my junk folder. Okay, if I want to mark it as a phishing or block it entirely, I have the ability to do that as well. I can move it to another folder. Again, I can categorize it. We talked about that. I can mark it unread here, which is exactly the same as right-clicking on it and doing it here as well. And then lastly, I can print it. So if I wanted to print a message, I could do that, maybe print it to PDF or something like that. I have the ability to do that as well. And then I've got these 3 dots here. If I click that, that just gives me some other options that I can do as well. Okay, so I could create rules. I could create a policy. Somebody said, will things delete automatically? Maybe you want to have things automatically delete after a week, a month, whatever. You can do that here. Okay, and then if I keep going all the way to the right, I see I've got a little flashed up thing here saying in 31 minutes, this is my next meeting. Okay. Any questions on moving within the email box? We'll be utilizing a 2-step verification when we log into our Chromebooks for the day. I completely shut down my computer early evening and sometimes have experienced a Microsoft delay when logging in. I'm assuming that's a statement, Dana, you're just making, or is there a question there? Like, how do you get around that?
I was just wondering if we will be having to do that.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's called multi-factor authentication, or 2-step authentication. It's definitely going to be turned on. That's a safety thing. We've had tons of customers recently that don't have this turned on, and what happens is, people can be breached, or worse yet, somebody will try to have a program where they just keep trying to log in as a user, knowing that they don't have the password correctly. And as you know, like after so many times, it'll lock your account out. And the next thing you know, help desk are trying to figure out how to reset passwords and things like that. So the two-factor authentication really protects you and the company against a lot of those types of hacks and things that people out there are doing today.
Thank you. And so then that will be on a daily basis then that we'll need to authenticate it?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. I mean, if you leave this open and you don't shut it down, you won't get prompted again. But if you close the browser window and you open it up again, you'll be prompted for that second factor of authentication. Daniel, can you display your calendar on the screen? Yes, absolutely. So right now if I see where my mouse is in the upper left, I'm hovering over the mail. If I come down here, the next one is my calendar. And as soon as I click that, you'll see that it opens up Outlook in my calendar, which we're going to walk through some of those things. Still sending automatic replies. Let me shut that off. Thought we turned that off, but maybe not. So that's how do you display your calendar. Again, contacts are in here as well. We'll just walk through these. We're gonna come into here in a second and look into these a little bit deeper. Again, files is going to be all my OneDrive files or any attachments that I've sent. To do is my actual to-do list.
And Robert, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to mention that, Daniel, yes, we are going to be using Lucid Chart in replacing Visio.
Awesome. All right, so I'm going to come back into my email here. Just click the tab one more time. I think we've covered email as in-depth as possible here. If there's anything that you're used to doing in Gmail that you haven't seen yet, please put it in the chat window and we'll make sure we walk through it. The last half hour here, we're going to try to spend mostly in the calendar. I'll just show you the contacts real quickly. You may ask, like, why would you have the corporate contacts in your personal one? That's basically if they've got a phone number or something in there, you can sync them up with your phone. I can actually create distribution lists in here as well. So you can see I've got some lists that I've created, human resources, marketing. And if I select any of these, you'll see I've added certain people into those lists. So you can, by all means, do that. If I open up someone's contact here, I'll just open it up over here. You can see I can look at the organization chart and see, who Holly reports to, who reports to Holly, who she works with, on cross-functional teams, things like that. I could set a chat here with Holly. I could send an email. I could call if I had this enabled, voice or video. So all these things I can do in the contact window. My to-dos, basically anything that I flagged for email. We just walked through that. Now it's showing my day. Let's just go back here and show everything. So here's everything I have that's due tomorrow. Next week, basically Friday the 10th to Tuesday, it's showing all that. Maybe there's some things later out there in the future. I can group task by basically a group. So I've got a group called migration task here. And I can actually add different tasks into that. So I can, categorize them and sort them and things like that. I can see what's been assigned to me. I can assign tasks to other people. So if I've got a task here, test drive new car, I can actually, somewhere here, I can see if I can share one of these. All right, it's real easy to do in the client. I'm trying to figure out how to do it here. Add file. Create new list, move tasks to, I'm not seeing the ability to assign tasks to others here, which should be quite easy to do. Assigned to me, I can see, flagged email. Okay, well, we won't spend a ton of time there, but you do have the ability to assign tasks to others as well. We may have to look that up and see how that's done in the browser version of this. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my email again. And the last piece that we're going to cover here today is around the calendar. So as I pull up my calendar here, you'll see again that color-coded piece of it. That's the categorization that we said. So if I come down, if I right-click on this and I look at my categories again, I know that this is a training meeting. I know these in red are partner meetings over here or travel time. These blue meetings are an executive meeting I have. The yellow ones indicate those are a personal or private meeting. So those are the way that's the way I can come in here and quickly look and see, what I have for meetings at that point. I can also see people's calendars that have been shared with me. So if I want to bring up Holly's calendar, I can just click her on here. And then it shows me my calendar and Holly's calendar together. So it looks a little busy. And she's just showing me basically whether it's busy or free. It's going to take me a second, Holly, to understand or figure out where I pull up other people's. Here we go, add calendar. So if I wanted to add somebody else's calendar, I could basically add from the directory. I could type a name in here. Actually, I have Melissa's already. We'll add Vivian's. And you'll notice it just added it. So I can close this down and now I can see, I'll take Holly's calendar off. And here's Vivian's calendar. I can take mine off as well if I just want to look at hers. So this is a real easy way to share calendars within your groups, share your calendar within your group. I can share it here as well. So this will allow people to see my calendar, and then I can actually drill down and say what exactly it is they can see within my calendar. So I can say she can see all the details only when I'm busy, maybe just my titles and locations. Okay. If I'm looking at my calendar, I can go out again, like we showed before. If I'm way out into the future, I can just click today and come back to today's view of the calendar. I think I've got some other views here, right here on my work week over on the upper right-hand corner. If I drop that menu down, I can just look at today's calendar. I can look at the work week. I can look at the full 7-day week. So if I got my weekends in here, I can look at that way. Maybe I want to look at the whole month. So I can, quickly see a snapshot of the whole month. The board is basically like a swim lane of the calendar. All right, so it's just like a planner board if you've used those before. And let's just go back to the work week. Okay, so real easy to kind of switch your views around. As we look at the calendar here, just quickly, creating new events. If I click new event here, it's going to let me create a title. So I could do, personal things and not invite anybody. So let's just say kids soccer game. Again, I'm not going to invite anybody to this. We'll pick a date that this is going to happen we'll say 5:30. Doesn't repeat. It's not a Teams meeting, so I don't need to turn that on. I'm going to categorize this as personal or private. And I'm going to mark this as private as well. So it looks like it already did. No responses. Keep it as busy. There's private there. And let me just make sure we're not covering any other actions. And then I'm just going to save it. Okay. So now if I go out next week, I'll see that right here's my kid's soccer game. And my calendar's blocked out. So let's say I want to have a Zoom meeting or Teams meeting. If I click event, I can add a title to it. Okay, I can invite people to it, or DLs. If I have a distribution list, I can invite them to it as well. All right, so I've got my teams, and you notice as soon as I start typing these in, the calendar, it's already looking to see what dates and time is available for everybody for a half-hour meeting. It's telling me that the next date that I have is today at 4:30 is available for everybody. I could do tomorrow from 9 to 9:30. So I'll select that one by default, and then it just gives me a snapshot of what my day looks like with that. I've got it checked off to do a Teams meeting. So it'll add a Teams meeting to that. I can add documents here or descriptions. Maybe I want to attach one of my cloud documents that I have, maybe my flow chart. And I'm going to share it as a OneDrive link so that we can edit it together if we need to. And then you'll notice at the top here, I've got a scheduling assistant. If I click that, it's just another way to kind of look at people's free busy in a really condensed format. So I can see, everybody's busy and up until 2 p.m. Friday. So maybe I want to move this meeting over to there and keep it at a half hour. And then you'll notice if I say done, it's already changed it over here as well. So now it's Friday, 6:10 from 2 to 2:30. And what I'll do is I don't have any response options yet. Allow forwarding. I can take forwarding off. I'm going to show obviously as busy. There's my little Zoom icon. Looks like they just added that today because I don't think we've had that in the past. So that's good. So if I don't want to make this a Teams meeting and I want to make it a Zoom, basically I just click add a Zoom meeting. And now the Zoom invite will show up in here as well. It's probably going to ask me a few things. Yeah, so I may not be able to use this because I'm sure I don't have an account. We'll try it. Yep. So you'll have an account to Zoom. I don't. That'll be a real easy way to put your Zoom meetings in here as well, is just click the icon at the top. So let's just schedule this with Teams. I'm going to send this invite out, and then we'll look at how I can track who's responded. If Holly and team, if you guys could just, everybody kind of respond with either an accept, a tentative, somebody can decline it if you want, and then we'll show how that looks in the inbox. Okay, so that invite sent. If I look at next week, or actually that was Friday, right? So there it is on Friday at noon. Perfect. And if I go back to my inbox up here, there's a couple ways I can see the responses. I'm just going to scroll back to the top. So as those are, we're waiting for those to be delivered, I'll just take a look through the two-step verification. How do you show the calendar and the email at the same time side by side? Good question. So let's just say I've got Outlook open here in my inbox, right? Maybe I want to have a side-by-side view of the calendar or a tab with the calendar. If you just hover over the calendar piece and you right-click on it, you should be able to say open a new tab. Okay, and you'll see that now at the top here, I've got my mail here and I've got my calendar here. There's really no way to split the window in a browser that I know of that you can do it, but this is the best way that I know that you can have each of those sitting right there and be able to toggle between them. Okay, did that answer your question, Takesha?
It seemed in the beginning when you were doing it, everything was on the screen at once, the to-do list, the task list, and your email as well. So I was wondering how you had that on your screen display.
I mean, the other way that you could do that is split these windows out into their own, or these tabs into their own window. So if you said move tab to new window, okay, so now that's a new window. I can actually shrink that down. All right. And hopefully everybody can follow along as to what I'm doing here. And I'm going to do the same thing on the calendar. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to say move tab to a new window. Okay, and then I can do the same thing there. I can shrink that down. Let me minimize this in the background. So now you can see on my Chromebook, you know, I can actually look side by side on these and have them in their own window. Is that what you were looking for?
Not exactly. It just seemed a different view. I remember where we could see the folders, the mail, and then off to the side your to-do and today's calendar or things to do today. But yeah, maybe it's updated and changed.
Okay, so yeah, we did actually show that earlier. So let me just bring that up again so you can see. So you're just looking for a preview of your calendar, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that is basically right here, reading pane. Actually, it's in view all settings. So if I go to layout here and I scroll down to, where did it go? I'm sorry, no, I just messed you up. It's actually way easier than that. So remember at the top here, you've got these different icons. If I just look at my day right here and I click on it, it opens your calendar right here.
Oh, there we go.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And that'll give you, you know, in 14 minutes, it says I have this recap meeting. Okay, so while we were, any other questions? If we were in one time zone, but our stuff is in another time zone, how will it show? Good question. So let me bring up the calendar again to show you that. Where's my calendar? Lost my calendar. There it is. So if I'm looking at my calendar, you'll see my 2 time zones right here, right? So if I'm looking to set up a meeting at 1 and my folks that I work with work in Oakland, I can see that that's 10 a.m. on their side. Okay. Let me dismiss this here. So I'm looking now and I see I've got a Tuesday training recap. Actually, this is the one that I want. Join Teams meeting. So here's my attendee list here. I've had 3 people say yes. I've had 2 people who haven't responded. if and when they do respond, it'll show up there. Let me just bring this one up and see. All right, didn't respond. So, if you're looking at your meetings to see if somebody said they could make it or not, here we go. I've got a maybe for Holly. I've got 2 didn't responds here. Just trying to find that meeting. Okay, so this is where you actually can track who's responded to your meetings or not.
Was it Thursday the 10th that you sent it out for?
Was it? Yeah, probably.
Can't remember.
Friday the 10th, maybe?
Friday the 10th, that's what I meant. Yep, Friday the 10th.
All right. You know what? It's Vivian's calendar. There we go. So I've got 3 yeses, 1 maybe, and 1 didn't respond. Okay, so I can really track, if I get to the 15 minutes before that meeting and the key person that I need is Melissa and she didn't respond, maybe I'll look to reschedule that meeting. Or I can send her a reminder just to say, is there any way that you can make this meeting? Okay. Let me just make sure I've covered everything under calendars. Meeting request. If we look back at our inbox here, you can see that I can also see that Kendall accepted tentatively. Vivian accepted it. Sharon accepted it. If somebody sends me a calendar invite, I have the ability. I don't have any that I can look at, but we didn't cover read receipts either. If you think that's important, I can go back and cover that over. I mean, we showed where it's done, but I don't think we actually sent them. No, maybe we did. All right, so I'll just pause there. We've got about 10 minutes left. Was there anything that you didn't see that you're curious about, Holly? If there's and team, if there's anything that I showed earlier that we didn't show in the Chromebook client, let me know and I'll walk through that with a little bit of time that we have left here.
I can't think of anything in particular, but I just want to make sure, does anyone who's on the call right now have any specific questions that they would, oh, and Jeff, I see your question, will mobile apps be covered under separate FAQs? Yes, they will. We actually have a specific instruction written up for mobile apps.
Thank you.
And there's the e-training has quite a bit around mobile apps as well. So if you get stuck, on your phone and you're trying to figure out how to do something, feel free to look through the e-training piece. And that e-training will be available for a whole year. So you'll have that for at least 12 months.
Yeah, and as Robert mentioned, it's really interesting because we have people that have different ways of accessing the system. As we mentioned, we have some people who are on desktops, some people who are on laptops, we have Chromebooks, we have Mac users. So when I started this training, we talked about the fact that this is kind of an overview. And so we do have the other resources available for you. If you need additional help, please make sure you utilize them. Daniel, the e-training is if you go into your CareMedics bookmarks and you choose Azure, it'll be available there. It'll say, I believe it says e-learning.
Yeah, let me bring that back up here so you can see where we started with that.
Thanks,
So,
Robert. And
yeah,
guys,
if
I
we
have to
just-
apologize. We're having a massive, nasty storm outside. So if you're hearing some noise or if I start to sound a little robotic, it's because of the wonderful storm.
Oops, I lost my, I think you guys lost my share, right?
No, I was seeing it.
Oh, there it is. Okay. My files, here we go. Yeah, so if I come back here and we go to our homepage, not sure why it's doing that, or my applications. There we go. So if you back to the default site that you first came into, this is probably going to be the easiest place to find the e-training is right here, the second tab over or second icon over. Again, it's available in Teams. It's available in some other areas as well. So if you're used to using it in Teams, feel free, but it's real easy to access it from the My Applications as well.
And as Robert mentioned, we have pre-assigned some learning paths for you to take, but you do not have to just take those. There is so many different learning options available for you, so please feel free to explore.
Yep. Great. Any other questions? We may be able to give you back a few minutes here of your day, so. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Hopefully it was informative for you and provided some good training to get you started in the new systems.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Wait, do I sound like a broken record yet?
Now, hang on just a second. I'm trying to, my system is frozen. Hang on a second.
Uh-oh.